Yes, I am doing bodybuilding training now. I do classify myself as a bodybuilder, not just a strength athlete, but that doesn't mean I approve of everything that happens in pro bodybuilding. All right, I thought I would chat with you guys and gals a little bit about this today, because this has come up in some of my live streams. It's come up in other places. People have mentioned that. They're like, hey, Jason, you're bodybuilding now, so what are your thoughts? Have your stance changed on certain stuff in open bodybuilding? I'm not saying no. Now, I'm going to be honest. I really like some of the stuff in the IFBB these days. I think the men's physique doing great. I think a lot of the women's divisions, the bikini, I think figure, I think wellness. I think those are pretty solid these days. Like I'm seeing a lot of stuff that looks good. I think the physiques look good. I still think that there's a degree of healthiness being maintained. That's my position on that. No, I don't hold the position that men shouldn't be aesthetic or try to look good. That's something I've matured on a lot. And I think people need to understand my stance on that. And I'm going to get into the negatives of the open bodybuilding in a minute. I think my stance on that, a lot of it had to do with because I was coming from the place of being a serious strength athlete, strength first, all those things, that it very much did bias my viewpoints on a lot of that. And also the whole thing of the push of excessive hypermasculinity. I don't think that's necessary. I don't think that's necessary, right? And I think something I want to push more with that is more the topic of healthy masculinity, right? What is healthy, balanced masculinity? We can be strong, healthy men with a healthy worldview, healthy relationships, without having to be extreme. Like we don't have to swing the pendulum so far, okay? But that's its own separate topic, right? There's a point, though, with some of that to where, we can get really imbalanced. Well, I don't care about looking good. That's for a bunch of gay dudes. We don't have to do that. It's not necessary. All right? It's not necessary. You don't have to do any of that to be a man and be healthy and have a healthy view of your own masculinity. It's not necessary. You don't have to go to the extreme because that's its own unhealthy extreme. Now, let's set that aside. Yes, there's nothing wrong if you want to look good naked. You want to look good shirtless. Go for it. In fact, the evidence is showing quite the opposite of what people thought with that. Women are attracted to it. Man, that's its own set of studies that should probably be discussed. Okay? Yeah, women do care. They care more than they claim they do. That is what the research is now showing. Women care about your body and physique and your looks in the research now more than they publicly and openly admit, even in conversation. So just like men care about things like how much money a woman makes, more than we admit, okay? That's what the research shows. But let's set all that aside. That's its own topic. It's fine. You want to look good naked. It's nothing wrong with it, guys. You want to look good. We want to use the word aesthetic. Perfectly fine. So, there we are. So, obviously, my position has changed there. So, when I look at the state of a lot of that, a lot of them still look good. They can still look healthy. I do think we have to be careful of the excessive leanness. But, over to that point, if people really stay in contest lean year-round, the same with the women. Are they really staying shredded year-round? Come on, they're not. Now, if they've tried to, up to a point, there can be issues. There can be reproductive issues, hormone issues. But generally speaking, being 10 pounds over contest lean, are we really going to claim that's unhealthy in a world with where obesity is killing us? No, I don't think it's a problem. And I don't think we need to view it that way. Again, probably its own separate topic. We're talking bodybuilding, though. So there's my positive, my favorable views. I like some of what I'm seeing there. I like what I'm seeing with those several categories of women competitors, not necessarily with the open women's bodybuilding. The men's, I think, some of the classic physique is getting a little too extreme. It's almost men's open 10 years ago, 20 years ago. It's gone a little too far. They need to dial it back a notch. I think the classic golden era bodybuilders were phenomenal. They looked great. They lived a nice long time. In spite of being enhanced, they had healthy lifespans for the most part. Okay? I don't think that's the concern. I think our real concern here is still the open. It's the open. It's the freak show, the monsters, all the site enhancement, all the excessive stacks of PEDs. Okay? Now, has the culture changed? Again, the culture has changed. Remember I used to talk about the G for P thing and all that? But what was the black market? And I don't want to make my channel about that. The black market has changed as far as what people are buying and using and costs. We don't live in that same world. 15, 20 years ago, certain things were harder to obtain. The current state of the technology and the trade and flow around the world in the black and gray markets has brought the prices down astronomically. So the things that these men who had no other skills were selling their bodies for only cost 5 or 10% of what they used to. If you have the right connections, they're only like 10 cents on the dollar of what they used to be. Okay? They're not having to resort to those extremes anymore. The problem, they're getting big because everything is cheaper. Right? That's the problem. Dudes are getting too big because they can get their hands on too much stuff too cheap. Like we've gone to the other extreme to where, okay, guys aren't having to resort to those things with that whole subculture to get the stuff they need, but they have access to a lot more. Well, they're killing their health. They're destroying their health because they can get everything so cheap now. So we're back over to the point of instead of the G for P problem, it's really turned the death cult side, is really pushed hard. Yeah, in men's open bodybuilding, it's not only turned into a freak show. The death cult, the death toll is going up, but they look hideous. The site enhancement is off the charts. You know, the bubble guts are there too, but the oil, the amount of oil. I mean, we got guys winning Mr. Olympias who their lats have massive lumps from oil. And it's not synthol, guys. That's what you need to understand. It's not synthol. It's the amount of gear they're using is so high they have to put it somewhere. They just use it like synthol now. Okay? That's a problem. That's a problem. That's why we're seeing the freak show that we're seeing. They got to put all that stuff somewhere. And I still am going to hold a negative view on that. I still think Scooby got it right when he said professional bodybuilding at this point is a contest to see who can take the most drugs without dying. And it's scary, and it's the scary nature of the sport. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.